Hey boys and girls, today we are going to still convert, but we're going to do customary and metric. So we're going to have a mixture of both types of units of measure while we're working today. So we're going to see things like inches and feet and millimeters and liters all kind of mixed throughout here as we're working. Okay, so let's start with this very first one. I can solve problems involving conversions within the same system of measurement. So, number one, Mike observes and measures the distance a flea jumps in a straight line. Mike must be very bored if he is measuring flea jumps. If the flea jumps the same distance 8 times, how many centimeters does he jump? Okay, so we're not just converting, we're also solving some problems. So let's break this down. First, find the total distance it jumps. So we're going to write an expression to find the total number of millimeters, because right now our units are millimeters. So if he does 150 millimeters each jump, and he does that 8 times, that's an expression that I could write. Or you could write 8 times 150. Either one's going to get us that same value. Okay, so if we find the number of millimeters he jumps, let's work that out right here. 150 times 8, 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 5 is 40, 8 times 1 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he jumps 1,200 millimeters. Now, because it says how many centimeters, so it doesn't want our answer in millimeters, it wants our answer in centimeters. We need to convert that. Well, what equation relates millimeters and centimeters? Or what do we know about millimeters and centimeters? Well, I know that 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. So let's think about it. Are we doing smaller to bigger or bigger to smaller? If I'm moving from millimeters to centimeters, smaller to bigger. So I'm moving smaller to bigger, which means I'm going to divide. Smaller to bigger always means we're dividing. So now we need to write an expression to convert that. So we're going to divide 1,200 by 10 because that's what we know about them. And I can easily do that in my head. 1,200 divided by 10 is going to be 120 centimeters. We could know that there's always a decimal here. Move it backwards 1 like dividing by 10 and that gives us 120. Or you could work it out. Okay, so let's turn the page and see what's next. Mike fills the aquarium using a 1 pint bottle. How many times will he fill that bottle to completely fill the aquarium? If y'all have been here at school with me, you know I'm doing that all the time with our aquarium here in class. Describe how to find the number of pints. All right, so we are talking about gallons right now. So what we're doing is changing gallons into pints. So let's think about what we know about gallons and pints. So we're going to convert, describe how to find it. Well, we're going to convert gallons to pints. So then we need to complete this to know the measures. All right. So let's think about what we know about gallons, quarts, and pints. I always draw my gallon man. He comes to my mind. I know there are 4 quarts in a gallon, and I know I put 2 pints in every quart, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8 pints. And I know there are 2 cups in every pint, so that'd be 4, 8, 12, 16 cups. All right, how do you convert a number of gallons to a number of pints? Well, if we're going from bigger to smaller, we're going to multiply 15 times 8 because we know there's 8 pints in a gallon. All right, so what's our equation? 15 times 8. let's work that out. 8 times 5 is, 40. 120. So how many times is he gonna go? 120 times. Lord, sometimes I feel like that here, but I definitely am not walking 120 times back and forth to that sink. All right, let's look at the next page, 461. Let's do number 2. 2.5 pounds changing to ounces. Let's think, what do we know about ounces and pounds? There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So we're changing from bigger to smaller, so we're gonna multiply. So I know 16 ounces times 2 is gonna be 32. A half of a pound would be how many ounces? If 1 is 16, a half is going to be 8. So 32 plus 8 would give me 40 ounces for 2.5 pounds. All right, let's change this milliliters to liters. If we know that there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter, and we're changing from smaller, milliliters are smaller to bigger, then we're going to divide. We're going to divide by 1,000, 10, 100, 1,000. So my answer is going to be 272 thousandths liters. I know that it's going to be smaller than 1 because there's 1,000 in 1 liter. I don't have anywhere near 1,000. Okay, let's do number 7. We'll scoot down a little bit. 13 cups is how many quarts? So let's think about what we were just doing on the last page. So my quarts, I have 4 cups in a quart. 4 cups in 1 quart. So if I'm moving from cups to quarts, smaller to bigger, I'm going to divide by 4. I know 4 will go into 13, 4, 8, 12, 3 whole times, and I've got 1 left over, so that's going to be a 4th because there's 4 in each one. 3 1/4 quarts. Or you could say 3 quarts and 1 cup. All right, then let's do number 8, and we'll stop right there. We're changing meters to millimeters. 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters. So if I'm moving from meters to millimeters, I'm moving from bigger to smaller, I'm gonna multiply by 1,000, which means I can move my decimal 3 times, 10, 100, 1,000, and that'd be 27,385. Okay, so we're continuing just practicing what we know about these conversions, and I want you guys to do your best.